Hello, welcome to episode 74 of Your Ultimate Comeback.
I like it.
I'm Brad. I'm here with my co-host Raquel. How are you?
Doing well. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Best day of the week. Not really, but
Well, it's a good day. I think it is.
Yeah,
because you're
that's true.
Going into the weekend.
that's true.
Yeah.
I would say Saturday at around noon.
It's the best.
the best day of the week.
Okay.
I'm done with clients.
Because then you're just chilling. Okay,
Yeah.
that's totally fair.
Yeah.
Totally fair.
Yeah. So today,
Yes.
you want to talk a little bit more about stress.
Yes, I do.
What realm of stress?
Well, I was listening to a podcast that I thought was very interesting. And one of the things they were talking about was how adult children, how the dynamic between adult children and the parents changes, right? That, you know, when your kids are young, the stressors surrounding them are different,
Yeah.
right? And the kids are probably not very stressed by the parents. Parents get stressed by the kids, right? Things that are happening to them and about them and, you know, all the things. But as they turn into adults, which I have 2 adult children now, and you're getting pretty darn close, then the stress goes back and forth between the parents are stressed by the children, even though they're adults, and the adult children are also stressed by the parents. And that was an interesting thought to me. I hadn't even really thought about that.
Yeah, I never thought about that
But
really either.
it's true because they're, you know, I use Quinn as an example a lot, Kellen as well, my son, that the dynamic changes, I should say. They are adults. They can make decisions for themselves, yet in my mind, I still think of my 2 little babies, you know? So it's hard to kind of adjust and do that dance, I think, about how to act and treat them and so forth. But the bigger thing that I was thinking about is, wow, that's just another little bit adding to my stress pile,
Yeah.
you know? And I'm working really hard to decrease that stress pile from a big mountain into a little anthill. And it waxes and wanes,
Yeah.
of course, you know, but it's just so incredibly fascinating to me how before I met you, my idea of stress on the body and stress in how our bodies handled it was only a physical thing. I used to think about it as, oh, I'm working out too hard, I'm this, I'm that, or I got sick, or what the physical stresses. Never really, I don't know why I didn't connect the dots before meeting you about, no, the mental stress also affects the body.
Oh man, mental emotional stress is a huge component.
Yeah.
But you're right. Most people don't acknowledge it as
Yeah.
an issue.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's not how I don't look. I'm not happy with how I look because of my mental emotional
Right.
stress. It's either my eating, my
Yes.
training.
Yes.
Everyone makes it super simple.
Yes.
And unfortunately, it's not super simple.
Right.
Mental emotional stress is stress.
Mhm.
Exercise is stress.
Right.
Stress is stress.
And the body, if I'm understanding correctly, our bodies and minds don't say, oh, this is a good stress, so I'm going to put it over here. And this is not a good stress, so I'm going to put it over here. It's just a big pile, correct?
Yeah. So stress can be good stress.
No, I understand that.
Yeah.
But when it's too much, it doesn't matter what the too much is.
Yeah, you have to look at it, in my opinion, as a cumulative overall
Right.
volume of stress.
Right.
And that's where people get into trouble
Yes.
is they compartmentalize.
Yes.
Well, this is bad stress. This
Right,
is normal stress. Or this
100%.
stress is good for me.
Yes.
Well, this stress isn't impacting my body.
Yes,
No, it's all
yes.
impacting your body.
Right. Right.
Yeah. And so that's the thing that I have the hardest time with clients is helping them grasp and understand all this lifestyle stress,
Mhm.
the schedules, the money
Yes,
stress,
yes.
the significant other stress, the
Yes.
kid stress.
Yep.
That's all having a very big impact
Right.
on how your body is looking, feeling, and performing.
Yes.
And you have to take that in consideration when you look at how you train.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I've realized over time is people cannot handle the amount of training they think they can handle because they don't understand how much the stress of life is having a negative impact on it.
Right.
And what it's really impacting is your ability to recover from the exercise.
Right.
So now exercise is considered a use stress
Mm-hmm.
unless the outside world around exercise is so stressful and now it's just more of a distress.
Mm.
Your body can't handle it. It's no longer a positive, it's a negative. It's just one more thing on the
Yes,
pile
yes.
that it has to
Yes,
deal
that's
with.
what I mean. I visualize this thing just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah. And so what has to happen for exercise to be really positively impactful is you got to start, like you're doing, whittling away all the unneeded stressors in your life.
Right. Right.
Because it's more than just mental emotional stress. There's food driven stressors. If you're eating foods you have a sensitivity to and you don't know it, it's creating an internal stress response.
Oh yeah.
If you're not sleeping enough, it's creating you're waking up with more stress hormones in the bloodstream compared to the nights that you do sleep enough.
Mm-hmm.
Every time you get in an argument, driving stress response up.
I want to ask you a question back to the sleeping. Is that unique to each individual as far as you say stress hormones, you wake up, blah, blah, blah? Is like for example, if I'm someone that typically sleeps, 7.5 hours is the low side for me, to 9. If I'm doing consistently 7.5, would that affect me differently? Even though that was, quote, an acceptable amount of sleep. Does that make sense? What I'm asking?
I think there's some variability there.
Oh, there
amongst
is.
people. Yeah.
Okay.
Like I know myself. I typically get 7 hours of sleep a night. I know it's not enough.
Okay.
And the only way you can figure out like what your specific sleep schedule is, from how I understand it, is you got to take a block of time.
Mm-hmm.
You got to cut out alcohol and try to limit or cut out caffeine,
Mm-hmm.
and just go to bed when you're tired.
Right.
And don't set an alarm and wake up when you wake up. Now, typically there's going to be a run of a few days where you're going to sleep more than normal as a catch up. But eventually you're going to hit a point, a sweet spot where you're going to kind of fall asleep every night around the same time and wake up every morning around the same time.
Yeah.
If you can find that and stick to that,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to that's actually one of the best predictors of longevity. If you can work that schedule.
Yeah.
To where you just fall asleep and you fall asleep and it's within about a half hour of each other.
Yep.
And you wake up without an alarm every morning and it's within about a half hour window.
You don't have the luxury of that right now.
Yeah, because my schedule is kind of run by my client's schedule.
Sure.
But when I was on the road speaking, even then it was all jacked up. During COVID, when all of my work was wiped
shut
out.
down,
Yeah, I found that if I went to bed every night around 11, that's when I would naturally fall asleep and I'd wake up at 7.
Wow.
It was beautiful.
Okay.
Now, unfortunately, what I do for a living,
Yeah.
I'm starting at
5.
5:15 to 6 a.m. every morning. I miss a good chunk of income potential if I don't show up to the gym until 8 o'clock in the morning.
Those are people that need those times.
Yeah. So that is the one time in my life where I realized oh wow, 11 to 7 is my ideal sleep, and that's 8 hours. So that's how you figure it out if you want to figure it out.
Yeah.
And then you just try to run with that as best you can if you have the ability to build a lifestyle around that.
But it's just, it's really amazing to me how, now that I've been traveling so much, here's the thing. I get stressed traveling because I'm not a very good traveler, right? I like my routine. I like being at home. I like knowing that I can eat clean foods. I like knowing where the next meal is going to be. I don't like eating at 9 o'clock at night kind of thing. So travel stresses me. But when I kind of lean into, I get to do this because I get to go watch my kid play. This is a small period of time in my life, really.
Yeah.
4 years, that I'll be able to do this. And how lucky am I that I can do this? I really tried to lean into that to let that stress go away.
Yeah.
But I have to tell you, I came back, I don't know if it was this last weekend. I think it might have been last weekend or the weekend before. After having 3 days off, I felt so good.
Yeah.
It's incredible. If anybody does not, people feel like, and I used to be one of them, that you're going to fall apart. Oh my God, you got to keep working out. You got to keep doing all the things. And you have told me before, it's worse to stress about the eating than the eating itself.
100%.
Yeah. So I am here to tell you that I have kind of leaned into that and I'm fascinated by it. You're right. You're right.
I love that.
It feels good.
Yeah. The hardest, when someone is so stressed out, like, oh my God, I can't be perfect.
Right.
I can't eat perfect. I can't sleep perfect.
Yes.
It's going to be bad for me.
Right. That's the worst thing.
It's the worst thing versus just saying, oh my God, I'm so excited. I get to go watch my kid play. I get to go just get a break and enjoy time watching him or her do her thing.
Yes.
Screw it. I'm not going to eat perfect.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be able to sleep perfect, but this is worth it.
Yes.
It's going to have way less negative effect on a person.
Yes.
Yeah. And when that was one of the things I learned when I traveled a lot for speaking was I get to go do this. I'm so excited I get to impact these people's lives.
Yep.
Because it would throw, we're talking, I would be in 3 different time zones in a week, speaking in 3 different cities. I'd wake up at some points and be like, I don't even know where the hell I am. What time is it? Where am I? What city am I in?
Yeah.
In the first year I did, I fell apart because I was really stressed. Like, oh God, I can't.
Yeah.
And I just accepted it. And what I realized when you just accept it and you go and enjoy it, you know what? Yeah, there's going to be a little bit of a negative impact. But when you come home and reset, you're going to recover from that. It's okay to put the body under periods of stress. We actually need it. One of the biggest issues that I see, especially with men, is we're not doing hard things anymore. We're not being challenged.
Yeah, you're not out hunting the lion.
Yeah, and remember Josh Kalinowski from Chili Dip?
Yep.
He had me read a book talking about that one of the biggest issues is that we aren't challenged enough. So we live in too much of a comfort zone.
Right.
You need some stressors. So to have periods of stress and then you come home and recover from it, you're actually creating some resiliency. So when you can go into it, like, this is a good stress, I'm going to go enjoy it.
Yep.
And I'm going to be able to recover well from it.
Yeah.
It really doesn't have that much of a negative impact.
Yeah.
Like, we are so worried about, I got to eat perfect. I got to train perfect. Like, most people are like that in the fitness world.
Yep.
That they create all this unneeded stress of when I can't be perfect, my life's going to fall apart. It's like, no, it's not. You're not. Like, you're going to, yes, it might be a challenging state. You can't be perfect. Sometimes the body needs that.
Yes.
I've had a lot of clients where they eat so perfect for so long, they hit a plateau. My response is, go blow it up for a weekend. Oh, I can't do that. No, your thyroid needs to be challenged and excited and upregulated. Okay. So go blow it up. And then sure enough, they go blow it up. And within a week, all of a sudden they lose 5 more pounds.
Wow. That's interesting.
Yeah. If you do everything too clean and too perfect and you don't stress the body periodically in a challenging scenario, you're going to stagnate.
Yeah. You know, one thing that I think, though, you made a comment about people in the fitness world, that especially people that work in it, I've always thought we're a little fucked up.
100%.
All of us. You know, we have the most body dysmorphia. We have the most we're all a bunch of screwed up people.
100%.
Yeah. Even more than average population.
100%.
Yeah,
We've all done more damage than most to our bodies. And
I think that's what brought us to the fitness world, perhaps. Yeah. And then we lean and let's be honest, there's a lot of addicts that are attracted to it. So we lean into it really hard that way too. You know,
it's a very easy thing to get addicted to because of the endorphin response to training, especially super high intensity training where you get the hell out of yourself.
Yeah.
It's a very addictive thing. It's a very common thing to see people get addicted to exercise.
Yeah.
And that's not a healthy thing.
No, but people are told that it is.
Yeah. It's not healthy to be addicted to exercise. It is not a healthy thing to exercise too much.
Right.
I used to really believe that, like, the person who's the most fit, that trains the most, is the healthiest.
That's what we were all, you know. Yeah, you look at people. Oh yeah, they're killing themselves, and definitely
your training. I believe this without a doubt, that your training is only as good as your ability to recover from it. If you aren't fully recovering and adapting to it, it's doing damage, not doing good.
And you get away with it a lot more when you're younger.
100%, because you have your hormones are healthier. Sure. You have more reserves. Yep. Life hasn't gotten to you.
Yeah.
The mechanisms of aging haven't started to kick in. Yeah. There's not so much against you when you're younger. So of course you can get away with it when you're younger. But I'm sure anyone who's over the age of 40 can to sit there and say, what I did in my 20s doesn't work in my 40s, 50s, 60s, whatever. Yeah. As much as we want it to, it doesn't.
It's wild.
Yeah. You got to be a lot more strategic the older you get to make sure that you're not abusing the system, that you're challenging it in a good stress scenario, and then recovering from it to keep your resiliency elevated versus hitting a state of fatigue. It's the biggest thing. I started speaking about this in 2012, this whole idea around fatigue being the problem.
Yeah.
And I went into the world of CEOs. You want to talk about a challenging thing to go in and teach these people. Right. Like, I'm coming in saying, hey, stress is your biggest enemy. Yeah. Fatigue is your problem.
Like, I thrive on it.
Like, I got so much. That's bullshit. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. The first 8 years, it was that.
Yeah.
And then I remember COVID hit. And I remember I got a number of phone calls. Hey, I'm so-and-so from New York. I had you out. You spoke to my group of CEOs. Could you come back out and give that exact same message? Because we now see what you're talking about. Because the stress of COVID just wiped these people out. And so it's funny. And you're starting to see more and more of it now. All this talk about recovery and how important that is and all these hacks to drive recovery.
Right.
In 2012, I was the biggest moron on the face of the earth. I didn't know what the hell I was talking about.
Yeah.
I had just lived it and learned it at such a young age and realized, oh my God. I mean, at 33, I completely annihilated myself. Eating perfect, training way too much, stressed out of my mind. And boom, my metabolism just shut down and collapsed. And it took 6 years to figure out why. So then by the time it was 2012, I'm like, oh, I get it. This is all self-induced.
Right.
And my industry is doing this to us.
Yes.
And then I started meeting more and more strength coaches that are younger on hormone therapy replacement because they've done the same thing.
Right.
It's crazy. Like, it's so hard to find a coach that has a great physique that's not on hormone replacement therapy.
Really?
Because they've done so much damage over the years that it wiped that out, so they had to go on it to maintain that look and the ability to perform like that. I was actually very disheartened when I learned that. Like, all these men that I was taking advice from, they weren't telling me they're on hormone replacement.
And what ages are these people?
Anywhere from 30 to 60.
Really?
Yeah, like, people are doing it at very young ages now.
Wow.
And they're telling you, oh, you just eat like I eat and train like I train and train like a moron, like super hard. You're going to look like me.
Yeah.
You're on drugs and I didn't even know it.
Yeah. Right.
Like, wow. Like it was very bad advice. And you know what? If you're on hormone replacement therapy or, steroids, like things like that, what those things do is enhance recovery. So you can do more.
Isn't that funny? People
funny.
They don't think about it as that's what it's doing.
Yeah.
They think
I remember having a great conversation with I talk about Stefan a lot from Kilo. They're out of Miami now. Like he was a huge impact on me. He helped me understand a lot of this. And I tell every trainer I meet, go study Kilo's philosophies. Mm-hmm. Why I like it is because what they realized was all these ideas were based off of European athletes, Eastern Bloc athletes that were on drugs. And the percentages and the volumes and the intensities they're using were on athletes on drugs. They went in and figured out, okay, if you're not on drugs, here's the intensities that can be handled phase to phase. They're drastically different.
I'm sure.
Like, it's like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Like we cannot handle anywhere near what we think we can handle because all the research has been done on Eastern Bloc athletes on drugs.
Sure.
So it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about just a paradigm shift for me as an individual and then as a coach. And now reaping the rewards because I listened to what he taught me and I implemented it. I'm like, oh my God, he's so right.
Yeah.
You can get great results with people not on hormones or not on drugs if you control the exposure and intensities and then help them understand, hey, life outside of here has a massive impact. And
this has become more and more stressful, even 10 years ago, right? I mean, you talked about COVID. That really ramped stress.
Oh, man, that wiped people out.
Yeah. And I remember when it first started, I remember I was working at Equinox at the time, and it was, it's just going to be 3 weeks. Remember that? And we were all like, yeah, we don't work for 3 weeks. Cool. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh. I remember going through such emotions, highs and lows of thinking, okay, this is pretty cool. Oh, no, it's not. Yeah. So you're right. It really did wipe a lot of people out, didn't it? And people don't include that into the whole overall stress package.
Yeah, and I remember I used to say, like, I guess you can't get away from stress. Oh, I guess if you moved to the mountains by yourself, got away from stress, you could. And then COVID hit. I'm like, oh no, loneliness is a massive stressor.
For sure.
The inability to be in community and around people you love, that is so incredibly stressful. Mm-hmm. To be stuck in your home, away from everyone.
But maybe it would be if that was elected instead of.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Maybe it would be a little different.
Yeah, I guess maybe. Yeah. It was all forced. So we don't really know.
Right.
That. And then what did people do? They started drinking more than normal. They're exercising less. They're drinking more than normal. They're lonely.
Eating crappy
isolated.
Food.
They start eating worse food.
A lot of sourdough bread was being made at that time. I remember everybody was making sourdough
bread and a lot of wine being consumed. I remember hearing stories like people sit out in the cul-de-sac and but they, they would have their wine parties and stuff, but they'd all be, like
6
feet family
apart.
here, that family there.
Yeah.
That did a lot of damage to people.
Yeah. So do you think it's possible we're still kind of all recovering from that? Is it that, is it that is like absorbed into our cells? Do you know what I mean?
Well, and what I saw was then when COVID ended, people just went crazy.
True. Yes.
Like partying and being out. And so there's
they went ham.
A stressful scenario on the flip.
Okay.
I think we're kind of balancing out from it now.
Yeah.
People are kind of mellowing out a little bit. Not a lot of people have kind of chosen to stop drinking for a while, which I think is really powerful. Yeah. People are moving more, they're walking more, they're buying into it. Like people are buying in more now than ever, I think, I got to take care of myself.
Yes.
What's that look like?
Yes.
They're looking for healthier realms around that.
And I think it's, you don't have a lot of young clients, do you?
No.
Do you have anybody under 30? I mean, I can think.
Oh, yeah. I have some.
Do?
Yeah, I have some. Okay. I still work with some young athletes.
Okay.
I don't have a lot of general pop people that are under the age of 30.
Right.
But I have, my pro athletes, my college athletes, a few high school athletes I work with.
Okay.
But yeah, they don't resonate with me because those people that want to get into fitness, they want the sexy stuff.
No, exactly. So that's why I asked. I feel like the primary people that you have are older and are like, okay, Brad.
Yeah.
We're tired of this. Tell me what we need to do here.
It's funny, a high-level professional athlete in their 20s will eat every word I say.
Really?
But a general pop person who's in their mid-20s.
That's because it's their focus.
Yeah. They don't have anything I have to say because I won't destroy them. Mm. What do you mean I can only work out for 45 minutes? What do you mean I can only work out 4 days a week? What do you mean I can't do a lot of HIIT training?
Yeah.
Because I care about you and I know what that's going to lead to and I want to avoid that for you.
Yes.
They don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
So.
It's amazing.
And I've even had conversations with younger kids at the gym that I work at that I know are on drugs. I'm like, You know, when you're my age, you're gonna regret this. Like you're gonna pay the price of my. Well, that's so far away. I'm like, no,
It's really
right
not.
around
It'll
the
be
corner.
here before you know it.
Like what you think this is doing for you,
Yeah.
it's not gonna create that response you're looking for, and then you're gonna pay the price at my age.
Yeah.
When eventually you're gonna have to come off that stuff.
Yeah.
And this whole look you're going for that was gonna change your life, it's never gonna come.
Yeah.
I know that because I watched other people do it
Yeah.
that were my age,
Yeah.
and then I see the consequences at my age. It's not pretty.
Yeah.
But people gotta. You know how it works. People have to run their own
They have to get
course.
there on their own time.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's just, I think about, all the steps along my journey, and it's just, it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back for most of us.
The one thing I'll go to my grave with is that I believe stress is the biggest enemy of the metabolism.
No, and I think you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
I'm seeing it now, and I'm understanding it better, and because like I said, I was kind of stupid about, or naive maybe is a better word about.
We were taught that was the answer.
Right.
It's very, all of us in the fitness fields were taught that was the answer.
Yeah.
You got to train hard. You got to train all the time.
You're right.
You got to be super fit.
You're right.
Like we bought off on that. We were taught that.
Yeah. But I just mean that now when we start to realize that stress is coming into play in so much of this, it's still really hard to wrap my head around, oh yeah, it's all of this. It's all of this.
Yes.
It all adds up.
Yeah.
A fight with your spouse adds up, or whatever it is, and kids, whether they're grown or small, they're stressful.
Yeah.
They're stressful,
100%.
right?
I think the older they get, the more stressful they become.
Well, it's bigger problems,
Yeah.
for sure,
Yeah.
and you're right.
The lion just gets bigger as they get older.
Yeah. So learning to manage that stress, I think, is such a key. I mean, I'm still such a work in progress trying to, okay, this isn't that big of a deal. I can do this,
Yeah.
But, any little, like the thing you've got the weight room doing right now, the challenge that they're on with the just saying 3 things they're grateful for every day. That's huge. It's so powerful.
It shifts subconscious to focus on all the bad, to focus on the good.
Yes.
We actually, you have to force that to happen because naturally we're always looking for bad because we used to belong in the wild.
Sure.
And there's a lot of danger out there.
Yes.
So the brain is genetically wired to always focus on that. So you have to do things to shift your subconscious to shut those pathways down.
Right.
Or you'll spin and freak out and stress out. And I get it. It's super hard. I mean,
it is.
I preach it. I talk about it. And it is the hardest thing for me to live.
Yep.
Like for me to sit down and just take 10 minutes to meditate, I still struggle like, oh, this is a waste of time. Like, no, it's the most valuable thing, but it feels like a waste of time. Because I am so stuck in the world of addicted to the feeling of being stuck in fight or flight and just always going.
Yeah.
It's really hard for me. And I struggle with it because I teach it and I talk about it. And then I sit back, I'm like, what the hell is your problem?
Yeah.
Like, you tell people not to do this and you're doing it right now.
Yep. That's true. I mean, it's one thing to be, I think logically, most of us are aware of these things that are detrimental to us.
Yeah.
Logically.
Yeah.
But then when it really comes into, okay, now I've got to put this into practice. Oh, that's a completely different thing.
Well, and right now I'm training 4 days a week with Garrett.
Yeah.
As a professional athlete, I'm doing all the workouts I'm asking him to do.
Right.
I got to be really mindful of it.
Your recovery.
I can't get away with allowing these stressful scenarios to run away, with me.
Yeah.
And I catch myself sometimes like, dude.
Yeah.
So on my days off of training, I'm really focused on doing things like my cold plunge, my hot cold contrast, my breathing, my meditation. Like I'm spending those days doing a lot of focused recovery stuff to help me. It's going to, it'll have a negative outcome on me, especially at my age.
Right.
So
you're getting up there.
Yeah. Almost the big 5-0.
Oh, yeah.
Trying to catch up to you.
I know. You still got a ways to go, man. Gosh, that's going to be a fun party we're going to have for you when you turn 50.
Oh, yeah. I haven't even stopped to think about what I want to do for that, but
I feel like you need to get out of town for that.
That would probably be a really good idea.
Yeah. You need a little downtime.
Yeah, nice little escape.
You've got plenty of time to plan for that.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you for letting me talk about the stress thing. I just think
I'm
it's
glad
so
you brought
important.
it up because people don't want to connect to that. They don't want to think like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
That
It's a
contributes.
vital thing that the more you exercise, the more you have to work on
the
decompression and keeping your external stressors in check. Yeah.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Thank you, sir.
Good topic.
Yeah. See you next time.
Yes.